acoustic and filling intervals, and even saying like, looking at music and playing fifth, octave, third, fourth, and like saying that along while we play. Things like that. A large part of his presentation was spent on improvisation, which is what I've used hymns a lot for, kind of both ways, where you have the simplified hymn book and you read the chord symbols for the left hand, or you can take the regular hymn book and you can kind of break it down and say what chords are we using, and then maybe make up your own accompaniment. It can be really good for theory or analysis or things like that. And he mentioned that he brings out Bach chorales as well as part of hymns. He tries to go outside of the LDS hymn book too. And yeah, so I appreciated it. I appreciated seeing kind of his, step by step, this is what I do. It was kind of nice. So
thank you for watching that, because I wanted to, but again, little things. So I make Friday morning, since I don't teach on Friday morning, I'm listening to a few of the different presentations. So it's good. Okay, Christian, what do you think?
I also watched Kevin's, and I agree with Mark. I haven't watched too many, so I thought I'll take this encouragement for today's meeting as kind of my, homework, deadline sort of thing. So I did watch a presentation yesterday. Pamela Jones was going to come down to SUU already in the spring for both performing and to do a little bit of a master class in terms of historical performance practice. So I wanted to check out her presentation, and she's kind of encouraging improvisation for intermediate to late intermediate pieces. We have Mozart 5/4/5 or those sorts of pieces. And it's always nice for me to hear somebody else saying that, yes, you should be improvising and you should be making it interesting, and here is something that you can add. So it's very, very informative, and there are some ideas that I'm definitely gonna be stealing from her, a few licks, and I feel like she's already stolen a couple of my licks too, unknowingly though. I wish she would have gone a little bit further. I think if we look what composers historically did, they did go quite a bit further, but I think it is hard in the classical music world of today to kind of take the plunge and do it, because there's always somebody who says, oh, but Mozart, oh, but Beethoven didn't write that. And I think that is often too bad. I mean, sometimes if we add things, they may work out, sometimes they don't work out. But I'm always, on one hand, I was very encouraged by the presentation, and on the other hand, I'm always a little bit sad that nobody seems to really be going all the way, because in the back of our minds, we always have this, oh, but if somebody says that's not accurate, because in fact, we don't know how Beethoven or Mozart played. But I thought that was a great presentation. And what was nice was that sometimes, she was playing with the score, that you could press pause and actually seeing what's going on in the music. Where did she throw in that trill, or, filled in a jump or whatnot. So there are some benefits. But it took a meeting like today to get me to actually sit down and watch something to fulfill my assignment.
Called accountability, right? We all need it. And, I think this is great that the conference is online, but we all get so caught up in our stuff that it's easy to say tomorrow. Oh yeah, I was going to do that. So I think this is really a good reminder to just, even if you watch one a week, there are some great things in there. Okay, Brenda, did you get to watch anything? Do you have a tidbit? Oh, you're muted.
No, I'm a bad student.
You're not a bad student. You're an honest.
I don't have any tidbits either. Sorry.
Since she doesn't have any tidbits, I'm going to throw in my tidbit for Brenda. This came, so in October, we had Danielle Dallas present on off the bench activities, things like that. And she was showing lots of different things, and I was sick that I forgot to press record, and I forgot to press record until partway through Mark, so we'll get with Mark. But there was something that happened. How many of us have students that, you know, do the caved in fingers thing? And so I had this little student get up, and it just, because of the off the bench presentation, I said, okay, do me a favor, go lay on the floor. So they laid on the floor, and I said, I will give you, and I really would, I will give you $100 if you can beat me to the couch. Ready, go. And I beat him to the couch. I gave him 3 tries. He had to start from laying on the floor. Said, okay, now I won't give you $100, but how would you get ready for this race? And so, of course, he stood up like this. Let's see, can you see? You can't see my legs. Anyway, the knees are bent. You wouldn't lock your leg back like this. You wouldn't lay on the floor to get ready for a race. You would bend your knee and get ready. And I said, so put your knees on your fingers. Get ready to play. Now, all I have to do is say, knees. And these kids go, oh, that's right. And they uncave their fingers. So there's Brenda's tidbit via me.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Okay, Nancy, your turn.
Well, I think it's awesome that Patrice is the Utah Foundation Fellow for this. Is it for 2021?
2021.
Yeah. And Lynn Dean what year were you the Foundation Fellow?
Nancy, I'm so old, I can't even tell you.
Yeah, no, you know, it's so long ago. Anyway.
Yes.
I think it may have been 2015.
Oh, okay. Anyway, that's, I mean, look at that, 2 from St. George and Patrice is this year. And they, if you haven't seen that, I've watched some of the conference, you know, we are all busy, aren't we? But it was a lovely presentation, and Larissa talked all about Patrice, and Patrice is just so gracious all the time. And
No, Patrice wanted to crawl in a hole.
I know, but you were wonderful. And so that's awesome to see all that. And so I've watched tidbits of those presentations, watched tidbits of various of the presentations, and it is wonderful. And I hopefully during Christmas, we're in final exams right now, and so today the piano pedagogy final is due, and so that's kind of fun because they're all writing their final papers, and
Wow.
we are all majorly busy, but you guys are just amazingly awesome. So thank you,
Wow.
Patrice. That was fun to see.
Thank you, Nancy. And Eugene's reception thing was
Yes.
so sweet. So sweet. So there's just a lot of cool stuff on there. Okay, Debbie, glad to see you here. Do you want to share a tidbit? Were you able to see anything on the conference?
I have not watched anything on the conference, no.
Okay, do you have a
No.
favorite teaching tidbit?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm teaching online only. I don't know what everybody else is doing. Is
Oh.
everybody else teaching online?
I'm teaching in
50-50.
person.
You're
What are you
teaching
doing,
in-
Brenda?
50-50.
Okay,
I've got some students in Cedar and some students in Missouri, so I have to do them online, but most of my local students come here.
Christian, what about you?
We're all online at the moment, but I started the semester a little bit early for most of my students, so we could do it in person. I have a few that are online, but the consensus among our students is, if at all possible, let's try to do it in person.
Yeah, okay. Lynn, what about you?
Well, I've got 50 students, 9 of whom are grandchildren. I all teach them all in person. They come here to the house.
Mm-hmm. And do you do any of your students online?
No,
Okay, smart man. I do some online, but if there's any way possible, I do it in person. Mark, what about you?
I'm pretty much all in person. Occasionally I'll have a student that needs to quarantine or something, or the parents don't want them to come because someone in the family was sick or whatever. So, you know, in that case, I'll teach online, but most often we're in person. So,
Julia, What about you?
I'm only online.
Okay. And do you
Right
like
now.
that okay?
I love teaching in person, and I look forward to the time when we can do that again. But right now, it's only online.
Right. Okay.
And and I am looking for more students, both violin and piano,
Okay.
and we're excited about that. Yearly, we do a big violin event up in Cedar City, and they actually are doing it online in March because of COVID this year.
Mm.
So, uh, some adjustments being made for everybody.
Okay. We'll get back to you with your tidbit. Carol, what are you doing? Are you teaching in person, online?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
I'm in that endangered category. And so I'm teaching by FaceTime and I hate it. But anyway, at least they're moving along and that's okay. I
Yeah.
have one tidbit. When I didn't look at or I just watched Nancy. I love Nancy. I loved her cross rhythms. But I have one way of teaching when I teach the hymns. I don't ask for my students to ask if they can play the hymns. I make them play the hymns. And I have them when they finish the little green hymns made easy or whatever, I put them in the big hymn book and I have them play two ways. SATB with the piano or with a pedal and SAT without the pedal so that then I can take them to the organ and they know how to play legato. That's my tidbit.
That's great. I love it. Cool. Okay, Lindsay, are you teaching in person?
Yeah, most of my students are in person. I do have about a third of my studio that's online, and then SEU and CSN both moved to online at the end of the semester. So kind of finishing out almost about half and half right now.
Okay. Do you have a general tidbit that would work for all of us music teachers?
I'll be honest, I was also a bad student and didn't watch any of the presentations, but now I really want to because these are great. So I don't know if I have anything specifically piano oriented. I have a couple of beginner students, but I don't know. The thing that I've found is just kind of celebrating the students' like successes as they finish books and making sure that they feel like it's a big accomplishment with either certificates. So I do that because I know that the Alfred books have those in the back of the piano books. So I try to do that with my younger students when they're going through like the Voxman or the methodologies that we use for woodwind players. So I don't know. I think it's just really important to kind of make a big deal, especially with students right now, because they're just not getting that feedback anywhere else. So online school has been hard. I know a lot of Utah schools have been in person, but Las Vegas and Clark County School District has been online the entire semester. So I have some students that have just been really kind of frustrated and really despondent and kind of sad because they don't have that. They don't have their outlets for their programs that they normally do. So just trying to find ways to cheerlead them on.
That's a good point. And, just to be aware of that too. Sometimes as teachers, we have the most connection with our students. And I have a student that's now on a mission for the LDS church. And he said, would you send me letters, please? You used to always tell me stories. I went, our lessons, and you taught me lessons that weren't part of piano. I'm going, wow. So I sent him a lesson today. And so, you just make these connections that are so important with your students, and you have no idea how meaningful it is sometimes till much further down the road. Okay, Karen, and then we'll get back to Julia. Sorry, Julia. Now, you're not teaching right now because of moving and everything, right?
No, I am.
Oh,
I kept up teaching. I took a few weeks off for the move, but I'm teaching online FaceTime and also Zoom, although I'm still obviously not very good at technical things. It took me 5 minutes to get onto this meeting, but all my students are on FaceTime or Zoom. And I haven't listened to the entire conference, but I am very much enjoying it. And one thing that I really liked was the Martha Hilly opening address. And I was really, the whole concept, she was talking about recreational music and about how she, through the course of 50 years on faculty of higher education music, she just had periods of time where she did retirement home. And like one class she taught an 86-year-old that went on till he was like 93 or something like that. She did some really interesting classes for that demographic. And then also she taught for a period of time with 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, which I thought was amazing. And she showed some of the visuals that she did for that, one of which was making a gigantic staff on the floor and then having them throw bean bags and decide if it was a line or a space. And since I do a lot of beginners, I love games like that. And her ideas for that were really wonderful. And I love the whole idea of recreational music as opposed to, you know, high pressure, you have to be the best kind of performance music. And she gave several references that I wrote down that I'd never heard of. And then I've seen several of them repeated in other classes. So you probably have already heard of the Bulletproof Musician, which is a blog, and I haven't checked it out yet, but I need to. A Whole New Mind by Daniel Pink, The Musician's Mind by Lynn Helding, and then TED Talks by Benjamin Zander, Todd Mockover, Eric Whitaker, and Evelyn Glennie. And those sounded like amazing references.
So I'm really, will you send me those, Karen? If you'll send me those links.
Oh, sure. Well, links is technical. I can send you the words.
Okay,
I'll send you the words, and then you can link it. But yeah, those were really interesting to me. And she seemed like a really engaging, lovely person. And the more I get into this whole tribe of music teachers, the more I'm impressed with just what wonderful human beings they are. They're not just talented, but they have such big hearts for their students, for people in general. And one of the quotes, I think it was either her or Cahill, it was about how you don't want to just be, and I'm killing it, but it's not about not exceptional playing, but it's about exceptional living. And that's why we teach music, and that's why we learn music. So I love that, because I'm better at living than I am at playing. So.
That's great. And I just can't tell you. So Karen presented her Pelican piano that's available through Amazon about a year ago or so. And I don't love teaching young kids because I've never had a method that I like anyway. This Pelican piano is fabulous for whether it's disabilities or very young children. And so I have to tell you, my 6-year-old grandson sat down, I pulled out this little dozen a day Christmas mini book, and he's sitting there playing it without any trouble. I'm going, you know, so it's, you know, I mean, it's not complicated, but I have never had very instant success with teaching little kids without great frustration on my part. And so I just go, yeah. And so thank you once again for the Pelican piano. And that it's cheap, $10 is great. So there's a plug for Pelican piano, and that is on the conference. Is it showcase? Yeah, you did the showcase. So if you want to learn about the Pelican piano, go on the conference to the showcases and watch her video. So, all right.
That is why I made it, was because beginning lessons at one time for me were excruciating, for, you know, to do them and to teach them. And this made all the difference for me. So I hope it helps other people too.
Well,
thanks.
And so some of you are familiar with the Great Smoky Mountains, bong, da 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 da, you know. And so yesterday at a lesson, I'm going, why are your hands flying off the keyboard? oh, you've got to be like Flamingo. He can fly, but not very high. And that's one of the things in the Pelican piano. And he knew it because his brother's doing it. And it fixed the problem of airborne hands very quickly. So anyway, Julia, are you ready?
No.
Yeah.
I did watch the Martha Hilly presentation when it was live, and pretty much everything Karen said was really great. But I guess the one tidbit is one that you probably already are aware of, was I really love how so many of the presenters posted handouts that we can look at. And especially, as everybody's been saying, Nancy's on cross rhythms is really great.
Yep.
When I was taking pedagogy classes from her, that was one of the biggest things, was her cross rhythms way of teaching. That was great. So, but now that we're into the, once we get done with finals, and I'm gonna have more time to go back and look at them. So I'm motivated, like everybody else, to go back and look at some of those. So that's basically all I have to say.
Okay, and I'm going to put a couple of plugs in, just because, you know, like Mark's saying about Kevin Olson's on the hymns, you know, that makes me more inspired to go watch that. So I'm going to tell you, I watched Christy Sobies and talk about the most professional motivator, gentle, you know, I'm going, oh man, can you just come live at my piano lessons for a little bit? She talks about all the different ways that we can, you don't be a pansy teacher, but you don't want to be a dictator teacher. And anyway, everything in between. But one tidbit I got from hers was, what's my job? And I have this little card I've taped on the music stand of the piano. And the kids come, and so it reminds me to ask them, so what do you think my job is? To teach me how to play the piano. Well, yeah, but what's really my job? I don't know. I was able to put it into a very succinct thing. My job is to make playing the piano easy. Isn't that our job? Whether it's a very complicated section of fantasy impromptu or a little piece of a scale, our job is to make it easy. Because if it's hard, kids won't continue. So I really liked that little part from hers. In Emily Jorgensen's, I wish I would have brought it from the other room. I have a picture Emily presented to us last, I think, February. She's the one who lost her fingertips to sepsis. How would you like to be a pianist and every one of your fingers is gone to your first knuckle? How do you play? And she does. And she makes some great correlations in there. And it reminded me of when I took piano lessons from Dr. Dean for 3 years. She says, find a colleague that you admire, that you respect, and take lessons. Maybe you'll only take 10 lessons. You just decide, but take lessons. And you will be amazed at how it helps you. And I would not be here. I would not be a foundation fellow. I would not be involved at all if it wasn't for Lynn. And so having those mentors in our life is really important. I would never have guessed 15 years ago that I would be here doing this. And that I love it, right?
May I insert something here?
Insert away.
Y'all might be interested to know, or maybe you remember, I brought Patrice kicking and screaming to the first UMTA meeting at the piano store there by the boulevard. She had an upset stomach and biting her nails off up to her elbow and everything else. And look what she's become. An amazing person.
But now one more story. And I don't know if Lynn even remembers this, but, and no, it wasn't the same one, because this gal was presenting. She had come up from Las Vegas and I was ready to walk out. That's how bad it was. But so it was another meeting because it was a man and he was saying something that I didn't understand. So I took my little paper and wrote on there, I'm going to write it here. Maybe you can see it. What is I'm not even going to say it. You've got to see it. Oh, my pencil's breaking here. Okay, let's see if you can see this. Can you see it? What is soulfish? He kept talking about soulfish, soulfish. And so I write this and pass it over to Lynn and said, what is soulfish? And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, he keeps talking about soulfish. And then he about fell off his chair. Solfege? I've never heard of solfege. And now I teach solfege. So it just, our membership in UMTA, I don't think can be overrated, over whatever. Oh, Brandon had to leave. Darn. He was only on here for a minute. I would have loved to have had his input. I will just tell you one other thing. I've only watched the first one of E.L. Lancaster's, his first presentation. And okay, you guys probably know how picky I am. I'm going, oh, he is talking so slow. Can I speed it up by 1.5 times like I can do on my scriptures? No, you can't speed it up. And so I make breakfast, I do different things, and I listen, and then, oh, wait, I got to see, what was that he was talking about? I got this. There's another book that's on its way, The Accompaniment to Hanon. And this is accompaniment to scales. I've been doing it the last 2 days with my students. So like here is, okay, so I don't know if you can see this. Here is what they do for their part of the scales. And it's 2 octaves. So whole da 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 da, and they go up 2 octaves. But the accompaniment part is a really jazzy theme. And it makes the scales so fun. And the kids are loving it. I've got this FLDS family that they're going, oh, we need that book. I go, yeah, you need that book. And so Dr. Lancaster shares a lot of these different resources that are available. So that's my 29 cents worth. The conference really is good. There's lots of things to see. And even if it's one little thing, like Nancy said, you know, jump here, jump there. I started to watch Pamela's, and I'm going, I can't do this. But Christian, I have to tell you, so on your comments on the evaluations for the performance evaluations in October, as I pulled one up, a couple of them, you had said it, can you do something different with this? And I'm going, and my students going, what does he mean? I'm going, what does he mean? Oh, that's right. Christian believes in improv. Do something different with that. And so, you know, it's just getting the suggestions and ideas and different things. Let me see here. Where did it go? I saw on the chat, somebody wanted to know about the rocket. So it is Catherine Rollin. And it is just a cute, fun piece, except for when somebody has trouble with the rhythm. But it's very nice when they get it.
Can I make a comment?
Please.
Just from listening to everyone, there's a couple things I thought about. I have a beginning student that's 7 years old. She's only had like 3 or 4 lessons, and I was having her play something with the right hand and then asked her to play it now with the left hand. And she started crying. And it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't made someone cry in piano lessons for like 30 years. So I'm like, what do I do? And so I asked her what her favorite song was. And she's like, Baby Shark. She wants to learn how to play Baby Shark. I'm like, that's so freaking easy. It's just Baby Shark. So I just wrote it out and then told her for the little Baby Shark, she plays it way up here. For the mommy, she plays it in the middle. For the daddy, she plays it down here with her left hand. With the grandma, she plays up here, and with the grandpa way down here. And I wrote it out and told her all the little 5 verses she had to play. And all of a sudden, she's like playing with both hands. And then the very next week, she's like playing everything with her left hand. It was like the one little key I had to do for her. It was so funny. And it worked out really good. And the other one I wanted to say was years ago when I had nothing to do, I took all my children's songbook songs and the whole hymn book, and put them in a list with a level of how far their melody range was and how much, what key they were in and how hard it was. So I have like this list that goes from the easiest song in the hymn book to the hardest song, in my opinion. So I have a lot of piano students that moms want them to learn the hymns. And to me, the hymns are easy because that's all I played when I was a kid. I knew how to play the hymns before I could play anything else. But it's hard for me to imagine that someone else thinks that hymns are hard compared to other music. So I like to use the hymns, and you can like teach any concept from the hymn book, literally any concept from the hymn book. And so I do that every week, and I love it, and they love it, and the moms love it. And I just use my little list I printed out. What's the next song that's the next hardest song in the hymn book to play, or the next song in the children's songbook to play? And it works out really good. So
Okay.
those are my tidbits. I decided I've got something, I guess.
Thank you. So we have a comment in the chat. Would you be willing to share that list with us? If you send it to me, I will.
Yes, I
include
will.
it.
I'll scan it and email it to you, and you can share it. Yeah.
Oh, yay. I want one too.
Okay.
I will send it, or I will link it on the blog, or I'll get it to everybody.
Yeah, no
Along with
problem.
Your molasses cookie recipe. That's okay, Karen?
Oh, I'm like, I don't
Flattered.
cook molasses.
Flattered. I'll do that.
Okay, I have it, so I'll just go ahead and send it.
Oh,
I just want to
super.
make sure I wasn't violating any copyright laws.
No, and the fact is, it came from my piano teacher.
Okay, and
So
that's what
it's
I was-
almost an antique recipe because
Okay.
it's
Wow.
from when
I
I was like young.
Okay, very good. All right, so that's, yes, Nancy?
Well, let me just share one little thing, well, two little things. My mother, who is 84, couldn't handle obviously the technology. So she teaches a few students on the phone. It's so cute, and because I'm here all day, and so I can't sit. But she gets all the music out, and she listens, and she does, and it's really darling. Anyway,
Wow, good for her.
I just wanted to share that. And here at Dixie State, we're face to face for most things, unless a student is has any symptoms, and I do half my lessons in the concert hall, so I can sit. But even in my office, I have 6 feet easily, up to 10 feet. So we're pretty much face to face unless someone is sick, and then we do
Great.
Zoom. So there you go. But
Okay.
this will end, won't it? Someday.
The point
On
is,
January 21st.
we are not defeated or thwarted. We carry on. We find a way to accomplish what we're doing. And I think it's great. And I love that we can see each other and inspire each other, and good for us. Good for us. January's meeting is Denise Frost, who is the president-elect, and she's done a lot with her students composing. And so she's going to share some ideas about composing with us next month via Zoom. So hopefully you can join us then. So any last parting farewell? My husband's
A
three
couple of
cookies.
jokes.
What's that? Oh,
A couple of jokes.
I'm ready for your jokes.
Okay, get your thinking hats on now.
Hey,
What do you get when you drop a grand piano down a mine shaft?
I know.
I know you do. A flat minor.
I was gonna do
What do you get when you drop a piano on an army base?
what?
A flat major.
Oh. Okay,
cute.
well, what? Oh, so I have a bunch of jokes because I sometimes put them on my window. What lights up a soccer stadium? A soccer match. Okay, anything else before we depart?
You
Thank
guys
you,
are awesome.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes.
Merry Christmas. Thank you. See you next year in
Nice to
January.
meet
Thank
you
you,
all.
Patrice, for all you do.
So,
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Patrice. Bye.